Linear equations and slope is something that appears on every single SAT. But what is a linear equation? A linear equation is just a straight line, and it basically tells you that if you shove in some value for x, what do you get out for y? What is the relationship between x and y? And the equation is in the form of y is equal to mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is the y-intercept. Slope is the rate of change. It tells you how your value of x scales. You've probably heard of it as rise over run, and that's because you find slope as the change in y, which is y2 minus y1, divided by the change in x, which is x2 minus x1. And b is the y-intercept. It tells you what y is when x is 0. And the useful equation that you will need to find the equation of a line is y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1. And you will likely need just to plug in some values and simplify. Now the SAT will probably have you find the equation of a line by reading it off some graph, finding the points off of a table, or telling you some specific coordinates. And if the College Board decides to be mean, you might have to find some random value after doing that. And the last thing you need to know is that the slope of perpendicular lines are the negative reciprocal of one another, and the slope of parallel lines are the same. So let's take a look at an example. It's basically asking you, can you recreate the equation of that line? And we know that every single linear equation is of the form y is equal to mx plus b. So what we need to do is first find the slope. And so what do we need for that? Well, we need two coordinates. We need x1, y1, x2, y2. So looking at this graph, we could pick any set here. But what's our easily identifiable ones? Well, there's 0 and negative 6, because we know exactly where that is on the line. We don't want any confusion. And then we also have 9 and 0. And what's the equation for slope? Slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's say 0 minus negative 6 divided by 9 minus 0, and that gives you the slope of 2/3. And what's the y-intercept? Well, the y-intercept is when the x-coordinate is 0, and we have said that's 0 and negative 6. So that means our equation is y is equal to our slope m, which we said to be 2 over 3, x plus our y-intercept, which we said to be negative 6. So y is equal to 2/3 x minus 6. And even though that this equation is showing an inequality, we can just change our equal sign to be greater than or equal to match our answer choices. And for the sake of learning, I'm going to show you that if you were to have another equation that's perpendicular to this, the slope would be the negative reciprocal. So y is equal to negative 2 over 3x, and then some y-intercept. We'll just say minus 6 as well. And we see that we have two perpendicular lines with a 90-degree angle in between them. And to show that our other equation works, if we put in 0 and negative 6, or 9 and 0, like we did before, we can show that if we plug into the equation y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1, that you would get the same equation of the line. Y minus y1, we can take any of these coordinates as our y. So let's just take 0 and negative 6. So y1 is negative 6, so y minus negative 6 is equal to m, which we found the slope to be 2 over 3, and then x minus x1, which is 0, and we get the exact same line. So if you work this out, you end up with exactly the same equation. And one more cool thing in Desmos is that if you add a table here, you could just type in some coordinates and have it populate the line for you. So again, we started with 0 and negative 6, as well as 9 and 0. And now you click this button right here to add a regression, and you can see that the equation of your line is now populated.